Morning. I handed my fiancée the breakfast I'd personally arranged. Her expression was cold as ice. She didn't even look up. Still, pathetically, I felt a small, foolish satisfaction. At least Isabelle Vance hadn't rejected me outright. Behind me, a group of employees murmured, "Mr. Thorne is so good to Ms. Vance, fiancée that rich, I'd be smiling in my sleep." A jarring voice cut through the whispers, and everybody turned. It was Leo Miller, the new intern working under Isabelle. He stood beside her with his head bowed, so low he almost disappeared. Wherever Isabelle was, you could bet he was lurking nearby. I'd complained about the obvious ambition in his eyes more than once, but Isabelle always defended him, so I kept my mouth shut. Leo lifted his head and glanced at Isabelle. His eyes were rimmed red, shimmering with unshed, pathetic tears. Isabelle's brow tightened. "Leo, take out the trash." With a push of his hand, the expensive custom-catered breakfast box I'd brought landed in the nearby trash can. A collective gasp went through the office. Leo feigned surprise for a second, then scurried behind Isabelle, all timid and meek. "Ma'am, I don't know." Mr. Thorne made it himself. Isabelle snapped, "Throw it out. It's garbage." My vision blurred, but she only looked at me with annoyance. "Stop with the self-pity, Carter. It's a pathetic imitation, and frankly, it's laughable." She softened her gaze at the greasy paper bag of bodega breakfast sandwiches on her desk, completely ignoring the meal I'd brought, now sitting in the trash. I tried to step closer. She shoved me hard. "Will you give it a rest, Carter? If my father hadn't forced this engagement, I wouldn't want a single thing to do with you. So what if your family is powerful? I'm not that shallow. Don't ever think you'll get an ounce of affection from me." Her words sucked the air out of the room. I stood there trembling. I was Carter Thorne, CEO of Thorne Industries, heir to a billion-dollar fortune. Isabelle Vance was the illegitimate daughter of another powerful family. If she used my affection for her to hurt me without a second thought, well, I deserve this. The whispers started again. "Ms. Vance went too far, humiliating the CEO in public like that. And who is Leo Miller? Why is he the one acting all hurt?" A couple of snakes, I thought. I pushed through the crowd and walked away, humiliated. Seconds later, I was shoved violently aside. "Mr. Thorne, look out," my assistant cried, and a sharp, hot cry of pain followed. When I looked up, Leo Miller stumbled toward me clutching a large scalding coffee with no lid. White-hot liquid splashed, still steaming. My assistant took the brunt of it, but my leg was burned. "Get my assistant to a hospital." "Leo, are you blind?" someone demanded. He stared with wide, guilty eyes. His hand went limp and a half-eaten greasy sandwich tumbled onto my bespoke suit. "I'm sorry," he said, giving the performance of wounded innocence. "I just thought you hadn't eaten either. I had leftovers, so I wanted to bring them to you." Isabelle cut in cold. "Do I know you? Why would I want leftovers? Get lost." He was being kind, he mumbled. "Miss Vance got stomach ulcers from skipping breakfast, so now I have to make sure she takes her medicine every day. I was just worried about you." He bit his lip like he'd been wounded. This little drama attracted more colleagues. "Is Leo crazy? How do you run into the CEO in an empty hallway? That coffee was boiling. Did he do it on purpose? What an idiot." He stood there head down, letting out quiet sobs. I watched him coldly, and a voice inside me said, "Hit him. Slap him hard." I stood up and slapped him across the face. In that instant, the entire plot of a novel flooded my mind. It turned out I was the villainous supporting character in a cheap romance. My fiancée, Isabelle Vance, the disgraced illegitimate daughter, and Leo Miller were the story's true hero and heroine. My whole family would become a stepping stone for their love story. Isabelle supposedly despised me but used my status. Leo, from a similarly poor background, shared her resentment of the wealthy. They were kindred spirits who fell in love at first sight. And me, innocent me, was the target of Isabelle's hatred. She resented anyone born with a silver spoon. In the story, Isabelle would sell Thorne Industries' secrets to rivals, transform herself from a hidden disgrace into one of New York's newly rich, and with Leo would have my family murdered. All of them would die horribly. I would be the last one left, robbed of everything. Leo would lie, telling me my parents weren't dead, just hospitalized. Then on my birthday, he'd take me to their graves and push me off a cliff to die in some desolate place. Who could have guessed? The day Leo failed his initial interview and cried in the lobby, I was the one who walked by. I took pity on him and gave him the internship. In the end, I'd be thrown into the abyss by this disgusting pair. Waking back up to reality, I saw Leo's tear-streaked face. Mr. Thorne, I'm sorry. I was just trying to be nice. Remembering everything he was going to do, my eyes narrowed. I rolled up my sleeve and slapped him again, harder. He screamed, and I laughed, wild and arrogant. I am the head of the Thorne family, a pillar of New York society. You think you could destroy me? He started crying, louder this time. He's hitting me. The CEO is hitting me. But no one paid much attention. I was known for my good temper. Today, I showed my teeth. I wasn't going to let him go. I rolled up my sleeves and landed several more slaps. He tried to dodge, then froze, eyes filled with fear. An enraged shout came from behind me. Carter, are you insane? Isabelle pushed through the crowd, pulled Leo up, and pointed at my face. Will you cut it out? Stop your bullying. She bundled Leo protectively. Go home. I don't want to see you. My sudden change in tone made her face flush. She didn't expect me to humiliate her like this. She turned to pull Leo away. I don't have time for this. I have work to do. Leo, let's go. I watched her with a smirk. What work could you possibly have? You mooching illegitimate daughter. Isabelle's body trembled. The word illegitimate was her trigger. Anyone who used it faced her wrath. Now I would say it in front of everyone. So you're mad I didn't eat your breakfast? Fine. Next time, I'll eat it. She snapped. Carter, don't push your luck. My back still hurt where she'd shoved me. Calmly, I adjusted my watch, walked over, and kicked her squarely in the stomach. She choked and crumpled to the ground. The crowd gasped again. Leo's eyes filled with pity, but he didn't step in front of her. My security moved in, 10 massive guards, built like linebackers, surrounding us. Isabelle stepped back, looking scared. Carter, what is this? Just because I didn't eat your breakfast? Is that why you're bullying a new employee and calling security? I sneered. What? Is he a minor? Isabelle's face turned ugly. She didn't expect me to humiliate her like this. She pulled at Leo. I don't have time for this. Leo, let's go. I advanced and swung my left hand. A crisp slap landed on her cheek, leaving a deep red mark. That one was for being a shameless mooch. A reminder, if you're going to beg like a dog, act like one. Isabelle had never been humiliated like this. She grabbed Leo. What did you do to him? She demanded. Leo cried rivers of tears. Ma'am, I was just worried the CEO would get ulcers from not eating, so I brought him some coffee. I spilled it by accident. I didn't mean to. Isabelle pulled him into a protective embrace, her brow furrowed. Carter, picking on the weak is so your style, isn't it? He was being kind, and you throw it back in his face. What more do you want? Are you going to blow this tiny thing out of proportion? It's a tiny thing. Just a cheap coffee that ruined my suit and this bag. Not to mention burning someone. You're a billionaire. Who cares about a suit and a bag? Stop pretending. If you want my attention, you don't have to bully Leo to get it. I held out my hand. How much? Isabelle was unfazed. I'll pay. Why make things hard for Leo? You're truly disgusting trying to get my attention this way. She turned to leave with Leo, but was blocked by my security. Isabelle Vance, you've been fired. I announced. Your salary is $1,000 a month. After 10 late arrivals, it's all been docked. The total damages owed to the CEO are $6 million. How would you like to pay? Isabelle froze. $6 million. She didn't have $6 million. She'd been in my company for half a year, living off me, spending on my supplementary credit card. She had no idea her actual salary was only $1,000 a month. Pay up, Miss Vance. People around us laughed. How is Ms. Vance so broke? $1,000 a month. That's less than my coffee budget. Leo's face went white. $6 million was astronomical to him. He tugged on Isabelle's sleeve. Ma'am, it's okay. Please don't fight with the CEO. Seeing an out, Isabelle changed her tune. Fine. Leo forgives you, so I won't hold it against you either. Don't be so childish next time. Leo, let's go. She turned to leave. I stopped them. They froze. I grabbed a bottle of water, took a large gulp, and spat it in Isabelle's face. I looked at her with faux concern. Are you awake now or are you still dreaming? Isabelle stood stunned. Manager was just a fancy title I'd given her. In reality, she hadn't even graduated high school. All she did was sit in her office and scroll through her phone. If I kicked her out, she'd be a nobody again. Back at the Vance family estate, who knew what the main family's wife and daughter would say? At the thought, her eyes burned red and her fists clenched. Enough. You're just doing all this to force me to back down. Fine. I apologize. Can we go now, Carter? Don't go too far. They turned her over and 2 guards seized her, forcing her to the floor. Informed security. Isabelle Vance and dogs are not allowed inside. I looked down at her, crumpled on the ground like an animal. Colleagues passed by, laughing. She ground her teeth, on the verge of snapping. Carter, what more do you want? I've already backed down. It was the first soft thing she'd said to me in a long time, and what a hypocrite she was, with a venomous heart. Tisk tsk. Isabelle, you're fuller of garbage than a trash bag, I taunted. Then Leo suddenly shouted, voice taut with righteousness. Mr. Thorne, you've gone too far. I'll leave with Ms. Vance. His eyes were red. I laughed aloud. Leo, you think this is a farmer's market where you can just come and go? Settle your tab before you leave. What tab? Isabelle snapped, stepping forward to protect him. But Leo's face went pale. 6 million, I said. If Isabelle can't pay, I guess you'll have to, Leo. The more I spoke, the whiter he turned. He could barely stand. Desperate, Leo tried to bluff. That's slander. It was just a little coffee. How could it cause that much damage? Just wipe it off. You're extorting us, Miss Vance. Let's go. I calmly dialed my phone and put on speaker. Hello 911? I'd like to report a crime. Leo went chalk white. When the police arrived, he realized I was serious. He stammered through explanations while I started a video call. My assistant in the hospital bandaged, my housekeeper arriving with my suit and receipts, all in rapid succession. After hearing the facts, the officers told him gravely, if you don't pay, you will be sued. The amount is substantial. Terrified of jail, Leo apologized over and promised restitution in front of the police. Only then did they leave. The whole office had watched his humiliating retreat. As the crowd dispersed, his tears fell. Mr. Thorne, he said, voice broken, I can never pay this back in my lifetime. To you, it's pocket change. Why do you have to bully poor people like us? His moral blackmail stunned me. Does rich people's money grow on trees? You think you can destroy my property without consequences? I asked. Leo fell silent. Isabelle looked pained for a moment, then snapped back to her old temper. Carter, when are you going to stop this act? Enough is enough. Do you really find it fun to get my attention this way? She demanded. I made a retching sound. Her face darkened. Fine. I'll pay for it. Stop bullying him, she said confidently, still clinging to the idea our engagement meant my debts would vanish. She thought she could play the hero without spending a dime. I held out my hand, the money poised between us. Isabelle's expression shifted. She didn't have that kind of cash, but she assumed the engagement would cover it. That's enough. My patience is limited. She didn't expect me to pull out a pen and paper. Sign the IOU, I told her. She was stunned, frowning. Is this necessary, Carter? What's the point of this game? You're just trying to make me look at you. I ignored her protest and had security hold them while they both signed. Isabelle is only a guarantor, I said. If she doesn't pay, it's still your debt. Hearing that, Leo looked ready to faint. A helpful security guard kicked him, and the jolt brought him back to life. The IOU is signed, the guard confirmed. Are you satisfied now, Carter? Isabelle asked impatiently as she tried to head back to her office, but I blocked her. Get them out of here. Throw them out and make sure they stay out. They're both fired. Security dragged Isabelle and Leo out like trash. Even then, Isabelle tried one more stunt. She grabbed the key fob to my Ferrari parked downstairs and unlocked it, trying to take Leo for a joyride. He got in, face glowing with excitement. "Ma'am, this is my first time in a sports car. I'm a little nervous." "Don't be afraid. I'll protect you," she cooed. I watched them from the second-floor cafe window and tipped my coffee cup so a stream of hot coffee splashed right onto Leo. "Ah, that's hot," he cried. Before Isabelle could react, I turned and walked away. Even as I left, her furious shouting followed me. "Carter, are you sick? You want my attention? Well, you've got it. Stealing a car to take an intern for a spin? Really, Isabelle?" By the time they reached the busiest part of downtown, people on the street cast envious glances. When had Leo and Isabelle ever experienced such prestige? Look at that couple. They look great together in a luxury car. The life of the rich is amazing, the sidewalk whispers fed their vanity. Leo's face flushed with pride. I watched the in-car camera feed with a smirk. Then the familiar sound of sirens rose. "You two, please step out of the vehicle. The owner has reported the car stolen." People on the street were loud. "Officer, I'm the owner's girlfriend." "It must be a misunderstanding." A bystander's voice cut through. "Girlfriend? Taking some boy toy for a ride in your boyfriend's sports car. Now I've seen everything." Isabelle went mortified. Leo, utterly humiliated. Suddenly the crowd surrounded them, laughing. Turns out he was a car thief, they jeered. They didn't get far. Before they could leave the city, they were arrested and taken to a holding cell. Isabelle had to scrape together every penny she had to get them bailed out. A disheveled, raging Leo stormed into the fifth-floor VIP room at the hospital where his critically ill mother lay, a room whose treatment my family's foundation paid for. He started shouting orders at the nurses. "Schedule all the most expensive treatments for my mother this month. If there's any delay, I'll have Carter Thorne fire all of you." The nurses nodded, terrified of losing their jobs. Leo's mother, lying in her bed, smirked. "That's my son. Carter Thorne is a brainless fool. Just lock down Isabelle Vance sooner. I'm tired of faking gratitude to the Thornes every day. They always come in dressed so elegantly, looking down on everyone. It's disgusting." Leo's face darkened. "Carter Thorne is nothing. Sooner or later, I'll have them on their knees begging us. Mom, you just wait. My son is so capable." The staff on the floor were fearful. After all, the room was under the Thorne name, and no one in New York dared to cross the Thorne family. Leo assumed I'd never cut off his mother's funding and spent his days lording it over everyone, until I got a call from another wealthy patient's assistant. "Carter, I don't mean to gossip, but several ladies on this floor have had jewelry go missing recently." I checked the security footage. I smiled into the phone. "I'm on my way. I'll handle this." I told my parents, and they insisted on coming with me. This was outrageous. Chloe was indignant. "Annie is so sick. Why would she steal?" she demanded. We went to the hospital. I immediately cut off all funding for Leo's mother. On the security monitor, a nurse was trying to evict them. Leo continued berating her. Then she cheerfully pulled out his mother's four. She had them on her. "Mr. Miller, you're no longer entitled to stay here. Please leave immediately." Leo's mother, forgetting she was a patient, jumped up and screamed, "What do you mean? I'll have Cardon fire you, you bitch." Furious, Leo slapped the nurse across the face. I walked in with my parents. Leo's face went pale. He flipped his tone. "Mr. Thorne, thank you so much. You're my savior," he begged, grabbing my hand, tears in his eyes, trying to guilt-trip me. My mother spoke first. "Ms. Miller, the Thorne family has plenty of money, but we don't fund parasites. Your son is openly seducing my future daughter-in-law, and we're supposed to pay for your treatment? Are you crazy?" My father, decisive as ever, ordered his bodyguards to remove all of her belongings. Leo's mother panicked as her things were thrown into the hallway. Leo glared at me with that wounded, pathetic expression again. "Carter, your family is so rich. What is this money to you? Are our poor lives not worth anything?" he demanded. "Fine," he said, attempting defiance. "I'll borrow the money from his, Vance, and pay you back." I, Leo Miller, don't owe anyone anything. He pretended to take out his phone to threaten me, but I simply nodded. Great, I said. The total cost of treatment, so far, is $2.5 million. And we never said we were donating the money. We were just advancing it. Leo, if you can't pay back, you'll go to jail. Good luck. Leo collapsed to the floor, staring at me in stubborn disbelief. I calmly dialed a number and handed the phone to him. Isabelle's voice came through on the line. What is it, Carter? She asked. You called to apologize? Leo wants to borrow some money. I put the phone next to Leo's ear. In an instant, his face drained of color. Isabelle took a deep breath. Leo, what happened? She asked. He started sobbing. Mr. Thorne kicked me and my mom out. My mom's treatment isn't finished. And now he's making me pay back all the medical bills. Listening to his manipulative sob story, my mother scoffed. Even my sister, Chloe, looked uneasy. Isabelle, ever the protector, asked for the phone. I took the phone and put it on speaker. Isabelle's arrogant voice filled the room. Carter, that's enough. Get his mother settled back in, and we'll talk at work on Monday. Where you work has nothing to do with me, Isabelle, I said. What are you going to pay his debt? Isabelle went silent. I don't have any money, she finally said. Why are you playing dumb? Then why are you pretending you're a big shot? I hung up. Leo's face went ashen. He dropped to his knees in front of my mother. Mrs. Thorne, my mother is very sick. I'm begging you. I know this money is nothing to your family. Seeing him like that, my sister Chloe's heart softened. Mom, Leo's family really is in a tough spot. Don't be so cruel. Smack. My father slapped my sister across the face, a hand he'd never laid on us before. Chloe was stunned. Leo's expression curdled into something uglier. Chloe, did you even consider your brother's feelings? I'm so disappointed in you, Johnson. My father's response was swift and absolute. Cancel all of Chloe's credit cards. From now on, any money she spends goes through me. He cut her off completely. Relief washed over me. So Leo, still waiting for my sister to be your sugar mama? Dream on. I watched as Leo's mother's belongings were thrown into the hallway and felt the situation close around them like a trap. He finally broke. Squatting in a corner, tears streaming down his face, Leo looked completely defeated. But his mother was relentless, standing in front of my parents like a human barricade. Just because you Thornes are rich and powerful, you think you can toy with poor people like us, she shouted. You lost the cost of a dinner, but my son is losing his mother. I remembered all the other times Leo had used my family as a ladder to climb the financial ladder. I wasn't about to let them off easy. My eyes narrowed. Mom, they can't leave just yet, I said. The nurses on the 5th floor mentioned that a lot of jewelry has gone missing recently. Leo's mother's face went white. Leo panicked. Mom, let's go. Stay right there, I commanded. The nurses who had been bullied by them suddenly surrounded the pair. So they were thieves pretending to act high and mighty. Leo broke first. Carter Thorne, on what grounds are you holding us? He asked desperately. I ignored him and turned to my bodyguards. Search their bags. No matter how much his mother screamed, it was useless. Her 2 huge bags were ripped open. Their contents spilled across the floor. Everyone gasped. Inside were troves of expensive jade, earrings, gemstone rings, and diamond necklaces. That's Mrs. Wong's emerald pendant from next door, a nurse shrieked. It's been missing for weeks. Soon, caregivers from other rooms arrived to identify their stolen property. I looked at Leo with a cold, victorious smile. You're finished. The value of what your mother stole runs into tens of millions. She'll probably be in prison for the rest of her life. He went limp and collapsed. The other victims called the police together. Leo's mother was taken away. Only Leo remained, sitting in the corner with 2 shabby bags. I followed my parents to another location. It was time to return that disgusting woman, Isabelle Vance, to her rightful owner. On the way, I watched the hospital security feed. Leo was still squatting in the corner, crying to anyone who would listen. My mother's still in chemo. They kick her out. They're so rich. This money is just a single meal to them. My mother didn't mean to take the jewelry. She just thought it was pretty. His victim act even attracted a wealthy young man, Aries, who offered to pay his mother's bills. Leo's eyes lit up until Isabelle arrived. "Lo, what's wrong?" she asked. Seeing her, the heirs pursed their lips, smacked his hand away, and brushed off their clothes in disgust. "Isn't that the Vance family's illegitimate daughter? You dare to mess with Carter Thorne's fiancée? Looks like you deserve what's coming to you." The Aries left without a second glance. Leo's only hope was Isabelle. After hearing everything from Leo, Isabelle said coldly, "I'll call Carter and get him to find a way to get your mother out. This is all his fault." But when she dialed, the line was dead. Carter had blocked her. I let out a cold laugh and sent her a text. "Vance's state. Return immediately." On the monitor, Isabelle's expression brightened. She told Leo proudly, "You just wait. Carter will come around. Once I have him wrapped around my finger again, I'll get your mother out. Don't worry about the millions you owe the CEO. That's nothing to him. You won't have to pay back." At the Vance estate, Isabelle's mother, Sharon, and the official Mrs. Vance sat on separate sofas. Mr. Vance Sr. was dividing the family assets. When he saw us arrive, he announced, "Isabelle will soon be a Thorne. Her share of the company will be 60%. Mrs. Vance's face darkened. "Sir, she's just an illegitimate daughter. Is this fair?" Just then, Isabelle walked in and shot me a triumphant, mocking look. "Mrs. Vance, it doesn't matter how much you look down on my mother. The person Carter loves isn't your daughter." My mother, looking at Isabelle's smug face, spoke slowly, measured. "We apologize for the intrusion, Mr. Vance. We are here today to call off the engagement." Isabelle's expression shifted instantly. Sharon shouted, "Call it off? Are you insane? You are not qualified to speak to me." "My mother said it," Isabelle replied, voice icy. Mrs. Vance smiled smugly. "Mrs. Thorne, if the engagement is off, our family must have done something wrong. Please forgive us." Sharon looked uneasy. Her entire status relied on her daughter marrying into the Thorne family. I got straight to the point. Isabelle was having an affair with an intern at my company. She also owes me $6 million. I find her disgusting. How dare you slander her? Sharon flared, still thinking I was love-struck and naive. "Carter, you have to understand there are many temptations in the world. As long as her heart is with you, you shouldn't care about anything else." My mother, usually gentle, lost her composure for the second time that day. She slapped Sharon across the face. The sharp edge of her ring cut her cheek. "Who do you think you are, lecturing my son?" Before Sharon could retaliate, a voice shouted, "Carter, haven't you had enough?" Isabelle stood up, and from the second floor of the Vance mansion, Leo Miller descended. My family's faces immediately darkened. As the door opened, my sister saw Leo and Isabelle hastily letting go of each other's hands. Now she finally understands. Leo Miller is a two-timing piece of garbage. "Brother, I was wrong. I should have believed you," she said sincerely. My father had lost his patience. "The Thorne family is calling off the engagement. Mrs. Vance, I hope you'll make this widely known." "Of course, Mr. Thorne," Mrs. Vance replied. "Our Vance family has more than one daughter. My Madison, I cut her off. I have no plans to get married at the moment. Thank you, Mrs. Vance." She said it casually. The butler cut off Isabelle and her mother's living expenses for 6 months as punishment. Mr. Vance Sr., seeing his alliance crumble, stormed off in rage. Watching her life crumble, Isabelle collapsed onto the sofa, looking at me with pure hatred. "Carter, you've gone too far." "Fine," I said. "We'll get married at the end of the year. Now stop this drama. I'm tired." Sharon, seeing a lifeline, screamed, "What do you mean? Call it off? It's just the kids playing around. Let's pretend this never happened." I felt like I'd heard the biggest joke in the world. Looking at the trembling Leo, I pointed. "That man right there is your real son-in-law, Sharon. Don't get them mixed up. Oh, and by the way, the two of them owe me $7 million. When can the Vance family pay up?" I produced the IOU. Madison, the Vance's legitimate daughter, snatched it, glanced at it, and handed it back to me. I'm sorry, Mr. Thorne, but this has nothing to do with the Vance family. As for the rest, you'll have to pursue the debt legally. Isabelle finally looked scared. Carter, I was wrong. Please don't leave me. I was just playing around with Leo. That's all. My heart is still yours. I kicked her away, then lifted her chin to meet her gaze. I saw the deep-seated hatred in her eyes. Isabelle, you must hate us, don't you? People like me, like Madison, we represent a life, someone who grew up in the gutter like you can never have. She trembled all over. I continued to twist the knife. You already planned it all, didn't you? How you and Leo would destroy Thorne Industries, build your own empire, and then kill us all. Too bad your plan was foiled the moment I kicked you out. Isabelle's eyes filled with deep, dark hatred. She lost control, lunging at Leo, tearing his hair, punching and kicking him. Leo, you dog. You ruined my life. Leo, knowing he was cornered, didn't hold back. He slapped her hard across the face. I knew you were useless. You have no money, so why were you pretending to be a big shot? They started brawling, tangled up, stumbling out of the house toward the busy intersection. Let go of me. You should be the one to pay back that money, you bastard. If it wasn't for you, I'd still be the future Mrs. Thorne. You ruined everything. Go to hell. It was deeply satisfying to watch. I couldn't help but applaud. The traffic light turned red. Horns blared. Isabelle, running blindly across the road, screamed as a massive truck hit her. Leo's hand was tangled in her hair. He couldn't escape. They both let out one last scream and were crushed under the wheels. The two protagonists of this twisted tale were finally gone. Isabelle's mother had a complete breakdown. But I wasn't finished with her. Ma'am, the daughter's debt passes to the mother. That'll be $6 million. The Vance family, not wanting trouble, simply threw her out. She was last seen wandering the streets at night, screaming, I'm Mrs. Thorne. I'm rich. Within 2 months, she was committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Leo's mother, dead, I delivered the news in a prison visiting room, recalling his actions in the novel. I was exceptionally cruel. Ma'am, your son was hit by a truck trying to escape his fate. It was horrible. No one even claimed the body. TSK, TSK. Leo's mother went completely insane. Too bad she was locked up. No matter how much she raged, guards subdued her with batons. The wealthy women she had stolen from ensured she would never get out alive. In the novel, maybe Isabelle Vance and Leo Miller could have used their despicable methods to win everything, the author claiming them chosen ones, destined for a perfect ending. But I woke up. I was always meant to be the protagonist of my own story. Villainy was never meant to be my label. An eye for an eye. That was the retribution they deserved. After all, I am the powerful and wealthy heir to the Thorne fortune. How could I ever lose?